Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, Chow, and today's episode, again, another interesting episode about interviews. I've got an interview with more of my friends that from the past, and we would talk about older times, different things about anime, and of course, some of the history that has passed along the way. All right. Before I begin, I'd like to remind people to go down below and click like and click subscribe. Even if you want to leave a comment below about this particular video and some opinions that you have, by all means, that does help the algorithm for YouTube. If you're interested in supporting me financially, I have the links for the super thanks as well as the PayPal and Patreon links below, where you can subscribe and get the special content that I cannot post here on YouTube. Again, there's a list with the link below of all the various different episodes I have for the History of Fan Anime, as well as the extra episodes that are available to the subscribers. And then it covers a lot of the content that, again, just YouTube just won't allow me to talk about. So, all the extra content is there, all right? Okay, so without further delay, let's begin. The question is things like, so when did you first, come into the anime? Because I think you came in
94.
94?
94, 95.
Now, was this at the very, very first store on Renfrew, or you were...
No, I was at the Cancer Society.
Cancer Society, so it was at the second store.
Yeah.
And at that time, what were you? You were high school still, right?
Yeah, I was still I think my second year of high school. Just started, almost.
Second year, so that's grade 9, I guess, yeah?
9.
Okay, and that was at Van Tech?
No, at Gladstone.
You at Gladstone, okay.
Yeah, over here.
So how did you find out about the anime store, and how to go to the anime store?
Oh, that was, me and my friends were going somewhere on Broadway SkyTrain, Broadway bus, number 9.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where we were heading. And we were looking on the road, and we saw some posters on the wall, on the window.
Right, okay, yeah. Because I remember I put a big Sailor Moon poster.
Yeah, we're like, that's interesting. Why is there anime on that wall over there? So we decided to just get off and head towards that location.
Cool, alright.
So just out of the blue, we're like, we'll just go there, see what it is. Because back then, you know what anime is, because the art style and all that is completely different from what North America was doing at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and at that point, I was mostly going to Blockbuster and Rogers to get anime.
Yeah. Was that Blockbusters that was just right by your house still open at that time? And
yeah, it was still open.
And what did you used to get out of there?
Whatever mainstream stuff was. I think it was like Tenchi.
94.
The movies, I think.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, just the beginning of
the first OVA, and yeah, the beginning of the first OVA. Universe hasn't came out yet, and I think I was also looking.
Probably Dragon Ball, probably.
No, Dragon Ball. I wasn't really into Dragon Ball at that time. I was Pokemon from my siblings, and then whatever mainstream was there was mostly. Oh my god, it was so obscured. I think there was some Golden Boy, 1 or 2 VHS.
Right. So it's all the early stuff that they were releasing at that time.
Yeah. Early mainstream stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now, did most of your friends also watch anime, or they weren't interested, or what was?
Most of my friends at that time,
or just didn't know what it was.
No, we knew some knew I was, because Sailor Moon was playing at that time on YTV.
Okay, so Sailor Moon. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Just
so Sailor Moon was just starting, and then Dragon Ball was also just starting too. And then I think, yeah, those two were just starting off around 94. No, if it's 94, that would be the start of Sailor Moon. So it'll be 96 was when I came to the store.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's right. So we were just only a few friends were just really watching it with me. Probably like Alvin and who was Andrew were the only twos, and then sometimes we have some other guys drop in. We just chill at my house.
Oh yeah.
Well, we just watched.
Watched it. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Now at that time, were you also really into like video games and that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, I was still playing Final Fantasy 6. 7 I think was was launching. It was a few years. Yeah, it was playing mostly the old classic Final Fantasy 6, Chrono Trigger, Secret Mana, stuff like that.
Okay. So what? So I guess Super Nintendo was your big game system at that time, or you were just transitioning into PlayStation, I guess, or
It was transitioning over to the PlayStation mostly. I didn't really have a Super Nintendo.
okay.
The only thing I played on the Super Nintendo was emulators at that point.
Okay. Now, that's interesting. Now, so you using, I guess, like I guess prior to the PlayStation, what you were using mostly computers, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Because a gaming console was not something you really have access to much back then, since they're like what $200-300.
Well, yeah, some of them were more expensive. Yeah, indeed. Mm-hmm.
Well, back then.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But prior to that, anything that I could get my hands on was secondhand or lower. So it's pretty much the Nintendo. So Final Fantasy 1.
Okay, so before that was Nintendo, and then you
transitioned to PlayStation 2.
Yeah, they went and played like whatever that was available on PCs.
Yeah, and then
I guess that'd be like like early Windows kind of stuff, Windows 95.
Windows and DOS. So
Yeah,
Warcraft.
What games were you really big on the computer? Like I guess was
Warcraft.
You said Warcraft.
Warcraft. I think Warcraft was one of the biggest.
StarCraft maybe or.
StarCraft was later. I think it was 98.
Okay.
99. Then, but yeah, Warcraft 1. What was that other one?
Were you big into things like Doom and?
No, I wasn't
No.
really. Didn't really care much for Doom.
What were the other games like Star Wars or TIE Fighter or
I touched it,
Rebel Assault?
but it didn't really get me interested.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Where
Yeah.
the role playing was more my thing. Back then.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the first rendition of Diablo, maybe. Was that
Diablo? No, I don't think it was out just yet. I think Diablo was 96. But it was just the heyday, so basically
Yeah.
DOS games
Mhm.
was
Was
pretty
your big
much
thing?
was the only thing that we could get our hands on. BattleNet and all that.
Okay. Yeah, what is this? It was all the initial startup of all those.
LAN games.
Yeah, LAN games was I guess was the new thing back at that time.
Where you lug your computer to a friend's house
Mm-hmm.
just to play together.
Yeah.
It's like early days of networking.
Mm-hmm. Now you came in, relatively sort of in the middle of when I did all the stories and that kind of stuff. You came a lot of times when we did the Iwase runs. How
Yeah.
did you find that? Like that sort of concept and that sort of experience.
Well, it was something different back then, right? Since as the media compared to today's media, and back then it was harder to get. So whenever you could find some sort of media that you're that reference stuff that you're interested in, you always want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So back then, I was like the new kid. So I just, oh cool, I'll just hang out. Can't buy much back then because as a high school student and not having a job at that time, wasn't really feasible to buy anything.
Okay, but you saw a lot of stuff that you were sort of interested in and got you know you saw that was really kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
Uh, what what things were those that seemed to make you more interested? Were you more interested in like the DVDs and that and VCDs and all that kind of stuff, or were you more interested in figurines, or were you more interested in like toys or Gundams or anything like that, or
Well,
what was your sort of big interest?
at that time, just starting out getting into the whole anime scene itself, you didn't really get a lot of exposure. So what was in magazines, which was mostly at that point, you have dedicated figure magazines.
Mm-hmm.
So flipping through that once a month, what's new coming out, was something interesting.
Okay, so you're more interested in
The figures.
the figures, the model kits, and that
Model
kind of
kits,
stuff.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, because you didn't really have much else to go by, because there was no internet, so trying to look things up was really hard back then. So all you could do is depend on visuals that you get from these magazines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nothing more. So since they come out, I think it was once a month or once every 3 months, depends on the
Depends on
publisher.
the magazine. Yeah.
You didn't really get much other type of exposures, so you always look at that and say, "Hey, that's pretty neat. That's a nice looking piece." It's like one day I probably want to own that.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, because again, back then it's much harder to collect things than now, because back then we didn't have the internet, so trying to buy something, it's not like you could go to a store, pre-order it, and boom, within 2 or 3 weeks you get it there, or get it mailed to you directly. You will have to specialize pre-order something. Either someone that is A, going to Japan, B, has an operation that runs a business in Japan, they can order it for you, but then you're paying a huge premium for it. So even if you're were working at that time, anything was a huge premium because it's a niche item that you're looking at.
Because we had to deal with the higher exchange rate,
And
shipping,
then shipping, and then the cost of the medication. You think, oh look, this item is only 3,000 yen. That's great. But then you forget, the import, the timing. It's like, do you want to go by air? Do you want to by ship? You're like, what? Air, ship? What's this? And then that also depends on if the store can actually even acquire that item for you. Because a lot of stores weren't really doing orders like that either.
Well, high price point and not a high profit margin for either.
No, it wasn't. So stores really weren't really doing that much for us. But then you run into those smaller stores, the niche stores. What was it? What was the Gundam kit store that we normally go to before in Richmond?
Oh yeah,
It wasn't J Hobby.
The other one inside Aberdeen.
No, not the one that was cram packed with Gundam model kits.
Oh.
It was on Garden City Road somewhere.
Well, maybe the Gundam World place, maybe.
No, that's the new place.
Oh.
But it was one of the older stores that we used to go by.
Yeah, well, they come and go, that's for sure. So.
Well, that's the funny thing is, back then, when anime was starting out, you actually have a lot more stores. Nowadays, you actually have less stores.
Yeah.
Because back then we had Sophia Book, Iwase, Half Moon.
The whole concept of having a sort of brick and mortar type of store was more important, right? Because these became places that you commonly had to go to. You had really no choice. You had to go to these places to get stuff, right?
Yeah, you have to get on bus to get out there wherever you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't now where you could travel pretty much by car anywhere you want, or if you just order something, it gets delivered to your house directly.
Yes.
So again, a lot more of the footwork. And then, if you really want to get those really nicer items, you have to go to conventions, I think, back then. It's like hoping that someone somewhere would have bought an extra a copy of the item in question that you're looking for and have it on a special deal.
Yeah, well, yeah, because again, there wasn't the concept of an online marketplace.
No.
Because you're right. I mean, there'd be lots of little stores that have bought certain things. Some may get more of one thing or another.
Yeah.
And when they bring their stores to convention, then that's your opportunity to get these things.
Pretty much. And convention back then was something that was just pretty much starting off, I would say.
Yes, just at that time was a really still a new concept.
Yeah.
Especially for like an anime convention by itself.
Yeah, because anime convention back then was more of an attachment to most of the mainstream stuff, sci-fi convention stuff, like the local sci-fi con that we had.
Yeah.
That we have, I should say. Where we would get one booth, or a group of friends would get together with one or two booths and showcase some stuff.
Sure, yeah. Now, I noticed that when we're talking about figures and toys and that kind of stuff, I noticed that in your collection you've got a lot of specifically Sailor Moon stuff.
Yeah.
Was Sailor Moon always the thing that you wanted to to collect lots of little pieces of, or?
Yeah, it was actually something. Was because Sailor Moon and stuff was one of my a big mainstream stuff when I really got into anime. That was what was really showing Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball was just too many fillers to follow along with, so it didn't really maintain my interest much. Where Sailor Moon was villain of the day, and it had story arcs, so it was a bit easier to follow. And I actually talked with friends about that. So.
Okay, cool, yeah.
So
and of the many series, which one did you like the most? Regular Moon, the R arc, S, double S,
I think the
Super,
the S arc
Sarge.
was probably one of the more intriguing arc for myself. But the sad thing was it stopped midway when they were doing that arc on TV, and then
you had to wait until the
then,
well, I mean, I guess we already had the fan subs sort of and done that through at that time anyway. So
do we even have the fan sub? I thought
some of them, yes.
I think we only had the Star fan sub.
We
and
did
some
all
of the Super
S, and then we did parts of R and S. Again, it depends on which ones we're missing or which are translated funny.
Yeah. Because
we did all the movies.
Yeah.
But
no, I didn't really catch the ones there because I think I was at that point diverging into other series. So
okay.
So it's looking for new and interesting things. I think the term fan service, when I heard that, entered a whole new world.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's lots of.
Because that's when you get fun titles like Cha-Cha.
Yeah. Right into Cha-Cha, right?
Yeah.
We did a lot of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Because Daisuke he did some pretty strange titles, but some of them were really funny.
Cha-Cha was one.
Okay, so I hope you found that really interesting, and I always find it really interesting, to go and talk to some of the old people because they always bring up stories that I sort of sometimes forget, or I don't quite have the exact wording sometimes, because I don't want to say something in regards to in about someone's story, when they can say it properly themselves, because I might get some details wrong or whatever. So it's always better that you get the information straight from them, as well as it's they always have some different perspective that maybe I just kind of forgot about, because so much time has passed. Sometimes I tend to forget them. So it's always good to have a good conversation about that. Again, I will be doing more of them, so stay tuned for that. All right. So until next time, I will see you again.